Evan ran beside Lyra through the shaking corridors of Horizon 6. The alarms screamed across the station, their red lights flashing like angry eyes. The floor trembled under every step as the Hunter's giant ship fired more energy bursts at the shield. Each blast hit harder than the last. Each hit pushed the shield closer to breaking. Lyra's silver cloth glowed brighter with every step. Almost like it was warning her, she kept holding the glowing crystal tight, its blue light pulsing with Evan's heartbeat. "Stay close," she told him. "If the connection breaks, the shield weakens." Evan nodded, breathing hard. His muscles ached, his skin felt warm. And his vision blurred at the edges. The energy from the core still flowed through him. It felt like he was carrying a storm inside his body. They reached the docking bay where Lyra's escape pod rested. The silver pod hummed with a soft sound, sensing Lyra's return. Evan could feel the air vibrating around it, like the pod was alive. Lyra stepped forward and placed the crystal inside a small circular slot at the top of the pod. The crystal fit perfectly, as if it had been waiting for this moment for ages. Instantly, the pod lit up with a blinding blue flash. Lines of energy crawled across its surface, forming symbols Evan could not understand. The air grew heavy, warm, and full of static. Lyra took a step back, her voice trembling with urgency. "Evan, place your hands on the pod." Evan hesitated. "Will it hurt?" he asked. Lyra looked into his eyes. "It might," she said honestly, "but I will not let you fall." Evan took a deep breath and touched the pod. The moment his hands touched the metal, energy exploded through his body. He gasped, almost falling. Blue light rushed through his veins like liquid lightning. He felt his heart pounding, faster and faster. His chest burned, his arms shook, and his eyes filled with tears from the intensity. Lyra placed her hands on his shoulders, grounding him. "Stay with me," she whispered. "You are doing this for your people." "For my people?" "For every life he has taken." Outside the bay window, the Hunter's ship charged a massive dark beam. The long spear-shaped vessel glowed red through its center. Energy spiraled around it like a black storm. The Hunter's voice echoed again, deep and cruel. "Human, you fight for a dying world. You fight for a lost creature." "How foolish!" Evan gritted his teeth, gripping the pod harder. A spark of anger lit inside him. "Burning brighter than fear? Then watch us fight," he whispered back. Even though the Hunter could not hear him from inside the station, the words gave him strength. Lyra watched him with awe. His body glowed faint blue now, connected fully with the pod as the energy flowed into him. The pod began to activate its true purpose. Panels on the sides opened, revealing an ancient device shaped like a ring. Energy swirled inside the ring, forming a bright vortex. Lyra gasped softly. "It is working," she said. "My people called this the Heart Gate, a weapon and shield powered by the courage of a chosen soul." Evan could barely stand, but he refused to let go. The entire station trembled again as the Hunter fired the giant beam. The shield outside cracked like glass under pressure. Blue fractures spread across it. It was breaking. They were out of time. Lyra pressed her forehead against Evan's, her voice small but strong. "Please, hold on." Just a few more seconds. Evan screamed from the pain, but kept his hands on the pod. The blue vortex inside the ring grew brighter and brighter until it became pure light. Then the light shot outward through the station, running through cables, walls, floors, ceilings, like the entire station had turned into a giant weapon. Outside, the shield blazed with new strength. It grew larger, brighter, thicker. Just as the Hunter's beam hit it, the collision was explosive. A wave of blue and black energy burst across space. The Hunter's dark beam pushed hard. The shield pushed harder. Lightning danced across the vacuum. The entire universe seemed to shake in that moment. inside the station. Evan collapsed to his knees, but kept his hands on the pod. Lyra held him tightly, tears gathering in her eyes. You are doing it. Evan, you are holding him back. The hunter's beam finally cracked and shattered. The dark energy dissolved into dust. The hunter's ship drifted backward. Shaken for the first time, a deep growl echoed across the station speakers. You dare challenge me? The hunter's ship retreated into the darkness, but not because it was defeated. It retreated to prepare something stronger, something worse. Lyra helped Evan lie gently on the floor. He looked pale, exhausted, but alive. You saved us. She whispered. Evan forced a small, tired smile. I didn't save anyone, he said weakly. We just survived round 1. Lyra looked toward the stars beyond the window, her voice heavy. Yes, she whispered. And the hunter will return. Stronger than ever, Evan lay on the cold metal floor of the docking bay, his vision still blurry from the energy that rushed through him. His hands trembled, his heart pounded, and every breath felt heavy. But he was alive. The station was still standing, and Lyra was kneeling beside him, relief shining in her blue eyes. For a moment, the world was quiet. Only the soft hum of the machines and the fading glow of the Heartgate filled the air. But Evan knew the silence was not safety. It was only the calm before a darker storm. Lyra pressed her hand against his chest. Her touch was warm, steady, full of strange alien energy. You fought harder than any human I have ever seen. She whispered. You held back a force that destroyed entire worlds. Evan gave a weak smile. It didn't feel like power. He said, it felt like I was breaking from the inside. Lyra nodded slowly. That is the price of facing the hunter, she said. No one who fights him remains unchanged. Before Evan could reply, the lights above them dimmed. Then they flickered, failing 1. By 1 across the bay, the station speakers crackled with static. A cold, deep voice cut through the air like a blade. Lyra. The hunter whispered. You hide behind humans. How far you have fallen. The temperature in the room dropped sharply. Evan felt his breath turn cold. The sound seemed to crawl through the air. As if the hunter's voice did not need speakers to reach them. As if it was inside the station. Inside the walls, inside the metal itself, Lyra stood up slowly, her eyes glowing brighter. Her voice steady but full of hatred. You will not touch him, she said. You will not touch anyone here. A low, cruel laugh echoed through the station. Little Lyra. Last child of a dead race. You think a human can save you? Evan pulled himself up, using the wall for support. His legs shook. But he forced himself to stand beside her. I don't need to save anyone, he said. I just need to stop. You? The hunter's voice fell silent for a moment. Then it returned, colder than before. Human? Do you know what she carries? Lyra's eyes widened. Don't listen to him, she whispered quickly. But the hunter continued, ignoring her. She is the lock, and you are the key. Both created long before your species learned to speak. Evan felt a chill move down his spine. What is he talking about? He asked. Lyra looked at him with pain in her eyes. Not now, she said. Please. Not here. Not while he listens. The hunter spoke again. Your courage is interesting. But it will not matter when I reach you. You cannot hide behind shields forever. A violent shock hit the station. The floor shook. A pipe burst above them, spraying sparks and smoke. The lights turned red. Then flickered between red and darkness. The hunter continued speaking, each word heavy with power. I have seen civilizations rise and fall. I have consumed stars. I have erased galaxies. Evan staggered as another tremor rumbled through the station. He shouted over the noise. What do you want from her? Why you chase her? The hunter's answer was simple, because she carries the last spark of creation. Lyra's hands tightened into fists. Enough? She shouted, but the voice continued. And you, human. You carried the spark of choice. Evan frowned, confused. What spark? The hunter ignored the question. You stood against me once. Alen survived. Rare for your kind, but courage burns fast, and you will soon turn to ash. Lyra stepped closer to Evan, standing protectively before him. Her silver cloth fluttered like a shield of living light. You will not break him, she said. You failed to break my people with fear. You will fail again. Another chilling laugh filled the station. Brave words. From someone who watched her world burn, Lyra flinched, as if the words struck her like a blade. Evan felt anger boil in his chest. He stepped forward, ignoring his pain. I don't care what you say, he growled. We're not afraid of you. The hunter's voice lowered, deep and slow. Not yet. But you will be. A sudden burst of black static filled the speakers. Then everything went silent. The lights slowly returned, weak and flickering. The station stopped shaking. The hunter's presence faded like a shadow pulling back into darkness. Lyra released a shaky breath. He is not gone, she whispered. He is preparing something stronger. Something worse. Evan wiped sweat from his forehead. Then we prepared too, he said. We fought back once. We'll do it again. Lyra turned to him with a soft expression. Not fear, not sadness. Something like hope. You humans. She whispered. You never stop fighting, no matter how impossible the battle. Evan gave a tired smile. Welcome to humanity, he said. We specialize in impossible battles. Lyra touched the crystal gently, her voice low but certain. The final war had not started yet, but every second brought it closer. And Evan, still shaking, still afraid, prepared to face it, because fear did not matter anymore. Courage did. Asterisk, the hunter's ship floated outside Horizon 6 like a giant shadow preparing to swallow the light. Dark energy clouds swirled around it, thick and heavy, like a storm made of nightmares. Inside the station, Evan stood inside the damaged docking bay. His breathing slow, his mind sharp, even while his body shook from exhaustion. Lyra stood beside him, her silver cloth glowing softly like a protective flame. Both of them stared through the wide window at the enemy ship, gathering energy again. The hunter's voice returned, deeper and colder than ever. Human. Your shield will not save you this time. Lyra lifted her chin, her eyes bright with fierce determination. You fear this human, she said. You fear what he carries. The hunter laughed, a sound like metal breaking underwater. I fear nothing. But he interests me. He stands where no other species dared. Evan tightened his fists. He didn't feel strong. He didn't feel powerful. But he felt something even greater. The simple decision to stand his ground. And that decision felt stronger than any fear the hunter could create. Lyra touched the crystal again. Its light grew brighter, responding to Evan instantly. You must use the heart gate one more time, she whispered. But this time, we send the energy outward. Evan swallowed hard. Won't that drain me again? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, and maybe more. But if we do nothing, the station will fall. Evan looked around the room. The broken metal, the dim lights, the shaking floor. This station wasn't perfect. Neither was he. But both still stood, and that was enough. He placed his hands on the pot again. A surge of cold energy shot up his arms. The heart gate above him lit with bright blue fire. Swirling in fast circles, Lyra stood close, her hands on his shoulders, guiding his breathing. Do not fear the energy, she whispered. Let it follow your choice, your will. Your courage. Outside, the hunter's ship released its final attack. A massive beam of black-red energy shot toward Horizon 6. The stars around it bent as if crushed by the force. The ground shook under Evan's feet. Lyra cried out, "He is trying to erase the station entirely." The impact hit the shield like a hammer from the gods. The blue barrier cracked instantly. Fractures spread like lightning bolts across its surface. Alarms blared, metal screamed, lights exploded. The shield wouldn't last even a few seconds. "Evan, now!" Lyra shouted, her voice full of fear and hope. Evan pushed every part of himself into the pod. His memories, his fear, his pain, his strength. Every choice he had ever made. Every moment he ever stood up again after falling. The heart gate answered him. Blue flames burst out of it like a star being born. The entire station filled with blinding light. The shield outside did not crack. It exploded outward in a brilliant wave of pure blue energy. The hunter's attack hit the outgoing wave and shattered like glass. The dark beam split into fragments of red sparks, disappearing in silence. Then the wave slammed into the hunter's ship. The massive vessel shook as if struck by a planet. Its dark armor cracked for the first time. Panels broke away, drifting into space, glowing with sparks. A roar of rage filled the station. "Human, you dare!" But the wave kept pushing. Lyra held Evan steady as the energy erupted from him. Her voice soft but strong. "This is human courage. This is what you never understood." The hunter's ship pulled back, engines screaming. It tried to stabilize, but the energy kept tearing through it. Finally, the giant vessel retreated into the shadows of deep space, disappearing into a dark fold of reality. The voice faded with it. "This is not over, human." When the last echo vanished, the station fell silent. The lights dimmed to a warm glow. The shaking stopped, and the shield slowly faded away. Horizon 6 was safe. For now, Evan collapsed to his knees. Lyra caught him before he hit the ground, her eyes full of worry and something deeper. "You survived," she whispered, amazed. "You faced the hunter and survived." Evan breathed slowly, his vision swimming. "I just didn't want anyone to die," he said weakly. Lyra touched his forehead gently. "That simple reason, that simple choice, is what gives you power." Evan noticed the crystal was dim now, but a faint blue glow remained, not inside the crystal. Inside him, Lyra saw it too. Her eyes widened. "You carry the mark now," she whispered. "You carry the heart's fire. The energy of my people. What does that mean?" Evan asked softly. Lyra looked toward the empty stars where the hunter had fled. "It means the hunter will return," she said. "He will return stronger than ever, 'cause now he fears you." Evan forced a tired smile. "Good. Let him come." Lyra nodded slowly. "Then our fight is only beginning." And somewhere in the cold darkness of space, the hunter watched, his red eyes glowing with fury and something new. Fear. Asterisk, asterisk. The research station named Horizon 6 floated quietly above a dead gray planet. Most days were slow, silent, and almost boring for the humans working there. But today was different, and Evan, a young technician, could feel it in his bones. He was checking the long-range sensors when a strange signal appeared on the screen. It was weak, broken, almost like a whisper from deep space. Evan frowned and ran the scan again, and the signal grew stronger. It was coming from a small object drifting slowly toward the station. At first, it looked like normal space junk, but then he saw the markings, sharp, glowing lines that moved like living light across its surface. Evan called the command room, but no one answered. Most of the team was busy repairing the station's power core, so Evan made a quick decision. He suited up and went to the docking area. The object was now close enough to catch with the magnetic clamps. When it locked in place, he finally saw what it truly was. An escape pod, but not human, and not from any alien species humans knew. The metal looked old, yet strong, and the glowing? Lines pulsed like a heartbeat. Evan opened the pod with slow hands, unsure if he was making a mistake. Inside, he found a woman-shaped figure lying completely still. She was wrapped from head to toe in a strange silver cloth, smooth and shining. Like water, no part of her body was visible, not even her face or hands. He tried scanning the body with his handheld device, but the screen only showed static. A warning message flashed. Unknown life detected. Before Evan could react, the lights in the docking bay flickered. Then the whole station shook as if something powerful had touched it from outside. Evan stepped back from the pod, heart beating fast. He spoke into his radio, calling for the commander again. Still no response, only static. The escape pod hummed softly, and the silver cloth shifted like it was breathing. Then a voice came, soft but clear. Not from the radio, not from the room. It came from inside the pod. "Please, don't take the cloth off," the voice said. Evan froze because the voice sounded like a young woman. Afraid and desperate, he stepped closer and whispered, "Are you awake? Can you hear me?" There was no answer this time, only the hum of the pod. Evan looked at the cloth again, wondering if the creature inside was injured. If she was alive, she might need help. If she was dangerous, she would have attacked him already. He told himself he remembered the rules of rescue operations. If a life form is found unconscious, the rescuer must check breathing and heartbeat. To do that, he needed to move the cloth, at least a little. He reached out with shaking fingers as soon as he touched the cloth. A cold shock ran through his hand. Not painful, but strange, like touching icy air wrapped in warm light. The cloth seemed to cling to his skin for a moment, almost alive, but Evan pulled it gently and lifted the edge near the figure's face. At that exact moment, the entire station went silent. The humming engines, the air vents, the lights, everything stopped. Time itself felt slow, as if someone had pressed pause on the universe. A small tool floated from Evan's pocket. Drifting in the still air, Evan's breath caught in his throat. He turned his eyes slowly toward the figure in the pod. The cloth had slipped just enough to reveal a face. But it was not a human face, and not like any alien he had ever seen. Her skin was pale silver, gentle like moonlight. Her hair, long and dark, floated around her head, as if underwater, and her eyes, they were closed. Until the next second, they opened, glowing with a deep blue fire. Evan's heart stopped for a beat. He could not move, not speak, not even breathe. Then time snapped back like a rubber band. The lights turned on, the air vents roared again. Alarms began to beep loudly. The station's voice echoed through the bay. Warning, unknown energy, surge detected. Evacuate immediately. The alien woman sat up slowly, her blue eyes locked onto Evan. Her voice, calm but heavy with fear, filled the room once more. "You should not have removed the cloth." Evan stepped back, confused and shaking. Who are you?" he asked. The alien woman turned her gaze toward the ceiling, as if sensing something far away. Then she whispered words that chilled Evan's blood. "He is coming. The one who hunted my world. He knows I am free now." Evan had no idea what she meant, but deep inside, he felt one thing clearly. This was only the beginning, and danger was already on its way. For a long moment, Evan only stared at the alien woman sitting inside the escape pod. Her glowing blue eyes looked calm, but behind that calm, he could see fear, deep fear. The lights of the docking bay flickered again, as if the station itself felt her presence. Evan stepped back until his shoulders touched the metal wall. His hands were shaking, and his breath felt too fast. He had never seen an alien like her, never seen eyes like that, never felt time freeze before. But the thing that scared him the most was her warning. He is coming. Evan opened his radio once more, shouting, "Commander, respond. We have a situation in the bay." Only static answered him, soft and broken. He tried again and again, his voice shaking harder each time. Nothing came back. The alien woman slowly stood up, the silver cloth still wrapped around her body. The cloth moved on its own, pulling itself into place like living material. Evan watched it with wide eyes, unsure if it was magic, advanced technology, or something else. She stepped out of the pod with slow, careful movements, not threatening, not aggressive, but as if the air around her was heavy, as if she had to fight against something unseen every time she took a step. Evan finally gathered enough courage to speak. "Who are you?" he asked softly. "What are you?" The alien woman looked at him with eyes that felt older than the stars. "My name is Lyra," she said. "I am the last of my kind." Evan swallowed hard. "What happened to your people?" Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, they glowed brighter. "A hunter destroyed them," she whispered. "A being who moves between worlds. He searches for power, not life." Evan felt cold inside. He wanted to step back, but his legs refused to move. Lyra noticed the fear in his eyes and lowered her head slightly. "I am not here to harm you," she said gently. "I did not want the cloth removed, because it kept me hidden." Evan looked at the cloth again. "What is it?" he asked. Lyra touched the silver fabric softly. "It is a seal," she said. "It hides my energy, hides my existence. Without it, he can sense me." Just then, the station trembled. A low rumble moved through the walls like distant thunder. Evan's heart jumped in his chest. Lyra turned toward the sound instantly, her eyes sharp. "It is too late." "He has found me," she whispered. Evan ran to the control panel on the wall and pulled up the external camera feed. The screen flickered for a second, then showed space outside the station. At first, everything looked normal, but then a dark shape began to appear from nothing, like a shadow growing in empty space. It was a ship, huge, silent, and shaped like a long black spear. It did not move like normal ships. It appeared as if space bent around it. Evan's breath caught again. What is that thing?" Lyra stepped beside him, her expression full of old pain. "That is his ship," she said. "The same ship I saw when my world fell." Evan felt his knees weaken. A part of him wanted to run, hide, or cry, but something stronger kept him standing. The small hope that maybe he could help someone, even if she was not human. She looked terrified. And he could not ignore that. "Why is he after you?" Evan asked. Lyra looked away for a moment. Then she whispered, "Because I am a key. A key to something he wants." Another rumble shook the station, stronger this time. Warning lights flashed everywhere, painting the bay in bright red. Evan's radio crackled again, but this time a voice came through. "Evan, this is Commander Hale. What is happening down there?" Evan lifted the radio fast. "Commander, we have an alien here and a hostile ship outside." The radio cut off with a loud burst of static. Evan cursed under his breath. Lyra stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. "There is no time," she said. "If he enters this system, everything here will die." Evan turned to her, panic rising again. "What do we do? How do we stop him?" Lyra slowly opened her hand. In her palm, a small crystal appeared, glowing with soft blue light. "This was hidden in my pod," she said. "It is the only thing he fears. Not because of its power, but because of who can use it." Evan frowned. "Who can use it?" Lyra looked straight into his eyes, her voice almost a whisper. "A human." Evan froze, shocked and confused. "Me? Why me?" Lyra shook her head. "I do not know," she said. "But the crystal reacted when you touched the cloth." The station shook again, harder than before. Evan heard metal bending somewhere above them. The hunter ship was closing. And Lyra looked at him with desperate hope. "Evan, will you help me?" He felt fear pressing down on him like a mountain, but he also felt something else, a fire inside his chest he never knew he had. He took a deep breath and nodded slowly. Yes, I'll help. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. Then we must move fast, she said, for the hunter is already here. Asterisk, asterisk. Evan followed Lyra through the narrow hallway of Horizon 6. Red warning lights flashed on every wall, turning the station into a maze of blinking shadows. The metal floor vibrated under their feet as another shockwave hit the outer hull. It felt like the universe itself was knocking on their door. Harder each second, Lyra moved quickly, her silver cloth flowing behind her like living smoke. She kept her hand on the glowing crystal, holding it close to her chest. Evan kept glancing at the crystal, confused and afraid. He still did not understand why it reacted to him or how he was supposed to use anything alien. Where are we going? Evan asked breathlessly. To the heart of your station, Lyra replied. There is a power chamber. The crystal can connect to it. But why? Evan asked. Because the hunter's ship is stronger than anything you know, she said, and this station needs a shield. A real shield, not metal. Another tremor shook the hallway so hard that Evan stumbled. Lyra reached out and grabbed his arm. Steadying him with surprising strength, her touch felt warm, almost comforting, but Evan could feel she was shaking. Too, she was afraid, deeply afraid, and that scared him even more. They reached an elevator. But it was dead. The screen was black. The buttons did not light up. Lyra placed her hand on the metal door, and the metal rippled like soft water. The door slid open without a sound. Evan stared with wide eyes. That is not normal, he whispered. Lyra said nothing, only gestured for him to climb down the maintenance ladder inside. They descended into the lower levels of Horizon 6. Cold air surrounded them, filled with dust and old wires. This part of the station was rarely used, but tonight every shadow felt alive, every sound felt dangerous. As they reached the bottom, Evan heard a distant voice through the speakers, a low, deep voice, almost like a whisper carried by a storm. It echoed through the metal walls. Lyra. The voice said slowly, you cannot run. You cannot hide. Evan froze. He felt the hair on the back of his neck rise. Lyra's eyes widened, fear flashing across her face before she forced it away. That is him, she whispered, the hunter. Evan swallowed hard. What does he want from you? Lyra looked away. He wants what my people protected, she said softly, and he destroyed us to take it. The voice returned, deeper this time. You opened the seal. You woke her, foolish humans. The station groaned like a wounded beast as another shockwave hit it. Metal beams creaked and sparks fell from the ceiling. Evan grabbed Lyra's hand, pulling her forward. We need to move, he shouted. They ran down the corridor and entered the power chamber. The room was huge, filled with humming generators and glowing cables. In the center stood the core, a tall cylinder of blue energy, spinning like a storm trapped inside glass. Lyra held up the crystal, and it responded instantly. It glowed brighter. Matching the core's energy, Evan stared at the light, feeling a strange pull in his chest, as if the crystal was calling him, as if it knew him. Lyra, what do I do? He asked, voice shaking. Lyra pointed toward the core. Place your hand on it, she said. The crystal will guide you. Evan took one slow step forward, then another. His heart felt like it was pounding in his ears. The blue energy of the core cracked and popped like lightning inside glass. The closer he got, the more the crystal glowed. Lyra's eyes never left him. She was holding her breath, waiting. Evan placed his hand on the core. Cold shot through his arm, racing into his bones. He gasped, almost pulling away. But the crystal pulsed in Lyra's hand at the same moment. The light connected both of them, Evan and the core, like a bridge of blue fire. Evan cried out as visions flashed inside his mind. stars exploding, worlds burning. Shadows moving across galaxies. He saw Lyra's people, tall, bright beings with eyes like hers, running from a giant dark ship, the same spear-shaped monster. Outside right now, he saw the hunter's face. Two burning red eyes hidden under black armor. He saw Lyra locked in the escape pod, sleeping for ages. Sealed away by the cloth, Evan fell to his knees, shaking. Lyra ran to him, grabbing his shoulders. "Evan, listen to me," she cried. "You must stay connected. The station needs you." The power core roared to life, shaking the entire room. Blue energy expanded outward. Running through every cable in the station, the lights above them turned bright white. The floor vibrated like a beating heart outside through the windows. A massive blue shield formed around Horizon 6. The hunter ship fired a dark beam at the shield. The beam hit, but the shield held strong. Lightning danced across its surface, but it did not break. Lyra helped Evan stand. "You did it," she whispered. "You activated the shield. Only a human could." The deep voice echoed again, louder, angrier. "You think this will stop me? You think humans can save you?" Evan looked up, sweat dripping down his face. His voice was tired, but steady. "Try us." The hunter's ship began charging a bigger attack. Even the shield hummed with fear. Lyra turned to Evan with urgent eyes. "This is only the beginning. We must get ready." And outside, the darkness grew stronger, for the hunter had truly arrived. The shield around Horizon 6 glowed bright blue, wrapping the entire station like a shining bubble. Outside, the hunter's dark ship circled slowly, watching, studying, choosing its next attack. Inside the power chamber, Evan struggled to stay standing. His legs weak and shaking after the energy surge. Lyra supported him, her hands firm but gentle. "You did something incredible," she whispered. "No human has ever touched a core like that and survived." Evan tried to speak, but his voice came out rough. "I feel strange," he said. "Like the energy is still inside me." Lyra nodded, her blue eyes glowing with a mix of hope and fear. "It is," she said. "The crystal connected you to the station. You are now part of the shield." Evan's heart raced. "That sounds bad," he muttered. Lyra shook her head. "It is not bad. But it is dangerous." Before Evan could ask more, a loud crash echoed through the walls. The entire station shook violently, almost throwing them both to the ground. The shield flickered for a second, dimming like a dying flame. Lyra turned toward the window, her face pale. "He is testing the shield," she said. "He knows you activated it. And now he wants to break you." Evan grabbed the railing beside him, trying to steady himself. "Break me." "Why me?" he asked. "Because you are the key," Lyra whispered. The hunter never expected a human to stand between him and his goal. Another shockwave hit the station. Stronger, metal beams groaned. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Evan heard distant screams from other crew members somewhere above. He needed to get them out. But how? Lyra turned to him, her eyes sharp, determined. "We must activate the device inside my pod," she said. "It can double the shield's power. But only if you help me." Evan stared at her, exhausted yet still burning with something fierce inside. "What do I need to do?" he asked. Lyra took his hand, the crystal glowing brighter as soon as she touched him. "You must give the device your energy," she said. "It responds to courage, to will, to the human heart." Evan blinked, confused. Courage? Not. Doesn't sound like science. Lyra actually smiled a little. "My people believed in both science and spirit," she said. "Some energy comes from machines, but some comes from choices before they could move." The hunter's voice echoed again through the speakers, this time louder, colder, and filled with anger. "Lyra, you hide behind humans now. How weak you have become." Lyra closed her eyes forcing her breathing to stay calm. "Do not listen to him," she whispered to Evan. "He speaks to weaken your mind." Evan clenched his fists. He felt fear. Yes, but he also felt anger rising. This hunter destroyed her people, chased her across space, and now attacked a human station. Evan wasn't going to let him win. Suddenly, the lights shut off, plunging the room into darkness. Only the crystal in Lyra's eyes gave off a faint blue glow. A cold voice filled the silence. "Human. Step away from her. You do not understand what she is." Evan shouted back into the dark. "I don't need to understand. I just won't let you take her." The darkness trembled, as if the hunter was surprised. Lyra turned toward Evan with shock in her expression. "Evan, you do not know what you are saying," she whispered. "You do not know what he wants me for." "Then tell me," Evan demanded. "Tell me why he destroys worlds to find you." Lyra hesitated, pain flashing in her eyes. "My people created a way to shape energy, to turn thought into power," she said softly. "I am the last being who carries that gift. The hunter seeks it to rule everything." The room fell silent. Then Evan took a deep breath and said, "Good. Then we make sure he doesn't get it." Lyra stared at him as if he were something impossible, a human. She whispered, "No fear in your eyes, even now." Evan shrugged weakly. "I'm terrified," he said, "but fear doesn't matter. What matters is doing what's right." Lyra placed the crystal on his chest. A warm light spread through him, calming his shaking body. "Then you are ready," she said. "You may not be strong. You may not have power like my people, but you have something we lost long ago." "What's that?" Evan asked. "Courage," she said, "and that is what the hunter fears most." Another blast hit the station. The shield cracked, flickered, then steadied again, but it would not hold for long. They had minutes at best. Lyra grabbed Evan's hand, pulling him toward the docking bay. "The device must be activated now," she said urgently. "If we fail, the station falls. And the hunter takes everything." Evan nodded. His legs hurt, his chest burned, his mind felt heavy.